Okay, let's talk about some coding best practices. So, first of all, you'll notice that my code is all indented. What do I mean by this? So I have a header inside of the body. The header is tabbed over one space. The nav is inside of the header. The nav is tabbed over one space. These links inside of the nav are all tabbed over one space. This makes my code a lot easier to read. I know what elements are inside of other elements. So indenting, that is super important, and it is a best practice. So you need to properly indent your code. If you come to me with a question and your code is not properly indented, I will make you go back and fix it before I answer your question. So just make sure that you're paying attention to indentation. It's going to make your code a lot easier for you to read and a lot easier for anyone working with your code to read. Okay, another best practice, the use of comments. I want to see lots and lots of comments inside of your code. So comments tell you what your code is about, tell you what different things in your code are. It just helps make your code more readable. So you do this by the angle bracket, exclamation point, 2 dashes, then you can write your comment, and then you close your comment with 2 dashes and an angle bracket. You can put your comments anywhere you want, anything that's going to help you understand your code or make your code more readable. Okay, so indentation is 1, comments are 2. Number 3, the next thing to remember, is to use proper tags. So the very top section of your website is called a header section. I want to see that you're using the header tag. For your navigation, I want to see you using a nav tag. For your H1, I want to see it properly labeled as an H1. H2s, I want to see properly labeled as H2s. Paragraphs or any text on the page should be inside of a paragraph tag. Divs should only be used for smaller containers. Why is this important? Well, it's important because not only are you telling me what all of this content is and you're labeling the content correctly, but you're also telling search engines like Google. So it's important for SEO that we write our code in what's called semantic markup. I'm teaching you guys HTML5. These are semantic tags, so it's important that we use them and that we're conscious of what tags we're using from the beginning so that we get into good habits. So divs are just small containers. I don't want to see divs everywhere on your page. Where there's a section, use a section. The bottom section of your website is called a footer, so use a footer. Your H2s you can use as many times as you want on the page. The headings go in order of importance. Doesn't matter what they look like, we can change how they look in CSS. So it's order of importance. So H1 is like the title of your essay, the title of your web page. It's the most important title on the page. H2 is a subtitle. H3 would be a subtitle of a subtitle. So just make sure that you're using your headings correctly as well. And then IDs, just make sure that IDs are only for anchoring. You can use an ID to style. Like you can call an ID when you want to style so that we don't have to add an ID and a class to an element. But I don't want to see IDs where there should be classes and classes where there should be IDs and vice versa. So just make sure that you understand the difference between an ID and a class and when to use an ID and when to use a class. And that is all for best practices. If you keep all of these things in mind while you're coding, your code should be very beautiful and easy for anyone to read.